Hello, Shabbat Shalom. As I hope you've read and heard about, the shul is now been convening regular daily minyanim for Mincha and Ma'ariv outdoors in our shul parking lot. Information about how to participate, whether by showing up in person to pray with the minyan or by following along and participating via a dedicated Zoom link. You can find all of that information on the shul website. There's a dedicated page, asbi.org/minyan, and I really encourage everyone to, whether from on site or from afar, from a distance, from online, to participate in this renewed way of being part of our community and coming together in prayer and avodat Hashem in service of God. In the coming days and in the coming weeks, we hope to have new opportunities, increased opportunities for adults and then for children to participate in non-online activities, as always guided by our physicians and by what's legal and what's safe by our local health authorities, and also guided by a desire to be maximally inclusive, to bring all of us together in as many ways as we can. Our Torah portion this week is Parshat Korach. This is the parsha that describes the great rebellion against Moshe, and famously Korach and some of his followers are swallowed up whole by the earth. In fact, actually, a giant gaping hole opened up in our shul driveway this week. Make of that what you will. Interesting timing. But as I've pointed out before, I think it's really, really important for understanding the story of Korach. Korach is not it's not an individual who acts alone. Korach assembles a coalition of people with very different agendas, and he's able to unite them all behind his leadership. And tragically, he brings all of them to a really poor end. The three groups of this: Korach himself, who rebels against Moshe, says everyone is holy. Why is there any special role for Moshe and Aaron for the priesthood? We should all have the same ritual opportunities and the same amount of power and authority within the community. Korach, of course, is actually a cousin of Moshe. He's also a Levite, so he's not a true populist. He's like a member of the elite who is upset that he was passed over for the ultimate positions of power. Datan and Aviram join his coalition. It seems from the Midrashic tradition, from hints in scripture, Datan and Aviram are just troublemakers. They had arguments with Moshe from back when they were all in Egypt. The character of Dathan in the Cecil B. DeMille Ten Commandments, that tradition is played up to great effect. And then there are the 250 others who, out of a great desire to serve God in the same way as the Kohanim, bring fire pans. They offer strange fire, and they're consumed by fire. They aren't swallowed by the earth, they're consumed by fire. The Netziv masterfully goes through and identifies all of these different components of Korach's rebellion, and says they really had very different natures and very different and therefore different ends. The 250 men, Netziv writes, they were actually sincere. They just really, really, really wanted to serve God in this way. They knew it was a powerful way to achieve intimacy with God, and they were willing to risk their lives in order to do that. They knew what they were risking when they brought those fire pans as people who were not Kohanim, who were not commanded to do that. They had seen what had happened to Nadav and Avihu, the sons of Aaron, who were killed, consumed by fire when they brought a strange, uncommanded fire. And the 250 men knew all that, and nonetheless they risked their lives in devotion to God, and they were part of this coalition. Datan and Aviram, they were just scoundrels, but Korach knew that you need scoundrels because they were good propagandists, okay? And they were the type of people who could go and raise up a crowd of angry people who were discontent. They had that capacity because they were contentious people, but no one would have followed them because they were just known as scoundrels and contentious people. Korach himself, who had a certain positive quality, right? He was he wasn't sincere in his motivations, Netziv writes, but he was, in fact, he had a reputation, a positive reputation, right? He was somebody worthy of having followers. He was corrupted by jealousy, which can happen to all of the best people. So if I were a more, I don't know, a more clever person than I could present some sort of corresponding connection between all of these characters, Moshe, Aaron, and Korach, and Datan, Aviram, and the 250 sincere followers, and the various things that happen to them, and how they take part in this tragic episode. And I don't know, it's not like Governor Pritzker is Moshe and whatever, and Senator Durbin is that's not I'm not clever enough to make those types of one-to-one correspondence. I do think that all of these characters and tropes recur in human communities, right? Politics is just the ways in which human beings figure out rules to live together. And when human beings need to live together, there will be politics. So we have to figure out how we're going to do that. And the types of characters that we see in the story recur again and again in human history. This isn't a Jewish thing. This is a human being thing. Okay, we have jealousy, and we also have sincere motivations. And sometimes people who are nefarious, they can take advantage of people who are sincere. Sometimes people who are decent and good are co-opted by people who are bad for their evil purposes. And sometimes there are people who are in between who can go in either direction and can sometimes really create tremendous damage by not knowing themselves and knowing their own motivations sufficiently so that they think that they're doing something with real, sincere, pure motivations, and really it's just jealousy speaking, and jealousy that's corrupted them. So I guess the lesson is look out for these characters, and because they recur in every human society in every generation, and like, know yourself, okay? When you get riled up by a cause, you question yourself. Is this a righteous cause? And if it's a righteous cause or not, am I involved in this cause for sincere motivations, or are there inappropriate motivations that have corrupted me, that have allowed me to be co-opted for somebody else's agenda? Or am I appropriating somebody else for my agenda that maybe isn't as pure as it seems to me, or as pure as I'm presenting it to others? So know yourself and watch out for these characters when you see them in the world around you. And again, I have no one-to-one correspondence, but I do know that these people are around us, and they are us. We are them, and so these are issues that are worth paying attention to. I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful Shabbat, and look forward to celebrating Shabbat in closer proximity before too much longer. Take care, everyone.